उस काल के चीनी सिक्के भी तमिलनाडु में मिले हैं। द अर्जुना's पेनेंस की अगर बात करें तो ये देखने में बहुत ही आकर्षक है। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री श्री नरेंद्र मोदी ट्रेडिशनल चेन्नई ड्रेस में एक संकेत देते हुए भारत की समृद्ध विरासत और संस्कृति का, और ये विरासत देशों को जोड़ती है। इस मंदिर को गणेश रथ कहा जाता है। और कृष्णा's बटर बॉल को यहाँ के स्थानीय लोग कृष्ण का माखन लड्डू भी कहते हैं। गौरतलब है कि ये पुरातात्विक स्थापत्य न होकर एक प्राकृतिक स्मारक है। Tourists get attracted to the Krishna's butter ball. They want to get clicked with the butter ball as if they were carrying it. They try hard to move it as well. The Arjuna's penance is a magnificent bas relief that suggestively depicts the story of Kirat Arjuna of the great epic Mahabharata. With this city of Mamallapuram, China has a spiritual connection, historical connection, cultural connection, ecological connection. Amidst these boulders, the greenery giving the message of ecology so necessary for any economy to. India, the sidelines of many global summits like the BRICS summit, G20 summit this year in Osaka, Japan, last year in 2018 in Buenos Aires, Argentina. The leaders met at the SCO summit at Bishkek as well. And it is interesting to observe that both the leaders believe in taking ties beyond capital cities of New Delhi and Beijing. That's the Arjuna's penance. The panoramic view that one can see on this bas relief depicts the life in the forest, beautifully sculptured, dates back to the Pallava dynasty in the 6th and the 7th century AD. और जहां तक कृष्णा बटर बॉल की बात है तो आपको जान के हैरत होगी कि जनता की सुरक्षा के लिए 20वीं शताब्दी की शुरू में इस बटर बॉल को, इस पत्थर को अपनी जगह से हटाने का प्रयास भी किया गया था, लेकिन ये पत्थर अडिग है, स्थिर है और संदेश देता हुआ कि ये एक प्राकृतिक स्मारक है। दूर दूर से लोग मामल्लापुरम आते हैं इस धरोहर से जुड़ने के लिए। और आज माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी और चीन के राष्ट्रपति शी जिनपिंग इन हेरिटेज साइट्स पर जाएंगे। खुले माहौल में दोनों ही नेताओं के बीच बातचीत होगी और उम्मीद है कि उससे दोनों ही देशों के रिश्तों को बल मिलेगा। When the Chinese President Xi Jinping came in September 2014 to India, Prime Minister Modi had welcomed him in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, and we can fondly recall the image of the two leaders sitting on the swing near the Sabarmati riverfront with the Gujarati Garba in the background, the delicacies of Gujarat and the culture of India on display. India is known for its soft power. Both India and China are ancient civilizations. A good Sino-India relationship ये गणेश मंदिर है। रिद्धि सिद्धि के दाता गणेश जी, विघ्नहर्ता। और भारत में तो परंपरा है, जब भी कोई कार्य का शुभ आरंभ करना है तो गणेश वंदना से किया जाता है। ये अखंड मंदिर शिव को समर्पित है। इसे अत्यंत काम पल्लवर वरन के नाम से भी जाना जाता है। अत्यंत काम शीर्षक की पहचान परमेश्वरा वर्मन प्रथम के साथ जानी जाती है। यह मंदिर द्वितल साला विमान से युक्त है। भारतीय पुरातत्व सर्वेक्षण के अंतर्गत इस समृद्ध विरासत का रख रखाव किया जाता है। And for any spectator who wants to connect with history, with humanity, can observe and absorb the heritage and learn lessons for a brighter future. Towards the left of the Krishna's butterball is the Ganesh Rath. Even as the sun is also keeping vigil on a very important development, a new milestone in the relations between India and China. On the right side of the Krishna's butterball is the Trimurti cave temple. And here comes the Honorable President Xi Jinping. Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi welcoming the Chinese President Xi Jinping. A firm handshake. From Wuhan spirit in 2018 to Chennai spirit in 2019. The first meeting point, the Arjuna's penance. Archaeological evidences show links had existed about 2000 years ago between Mamallapuram, the venue of the second informal summit between the two leaders, and China. The Pallavas, whose flourishing seaport was Mamallapuram, had a relationship with China's and had even sent their envoys there during their rule. Celadon ware, pottery of the 1st and 2nd century Common Era, recovered on the eastern coast of Tamil Nadu, suggest Chinese maritime activities. And the connect that one saw in the history can also be felt in the present as we see warmth, bonhomie, camaraderie between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping. He arrived in Chennai this afternoon to a very colorful welcome and then has now arrived at Mamallapuram. Smiles being exchanged, and I'm sure a positive message will go not only to Asia but to the whole world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while addressing the 74th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York earlier this year, had started by saying that it's a very special occasion because this year, 2019, the entire world is celebrating the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. And his message of truth and non-violence is very relevant for us even today, for peace, development and progress in the world. Dressed in the traditional Chinese attire, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, and the President of China, Xi Jinping. So that's the traditional Chennai attire. And now, Prime Minister describing the importance of the Arjuna's penance. This is the unfinished rock-cut cave temple. This is towards the north of Krishna Mandapa. This cave temple would have been the largest of all cave temples of the Pallavas. On stylistic grounds, it may be placed later among the Mamallapuram style cave temples in the period of Parmeshwara Varman, who ruled from 672 to 700 CE. This cave temple has a unique plan in having a rock-cut shrine at the back of the facade hall, with an unfinished passage for circumambulation. The facade itself is relieved with a series of what is known as Hara elements. The pillars are unique in having Vyala over the Palaka, and below the Kapota, as is seen in many examples during those times. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So taking off from the Wuhan spirit, the Chennai spirit will continue to chart the future course of India-China partnership. If we talk about the United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals, then SDG 17 focuses on the global partnerships and a positive partnership between two of the Asian giants, India and China, will certainly help in accomplishing sustainable developmental goals. The panoramic view that we see on the Arjuna's penance depicts the life in the forest, which is aptly sculptured in two large boulders. The cleft between the two boulders is utilized to show the flow of the river Ganga. all semi-gods, goddesses, celestial beings rush towards the central point to witness the great event. But even as we see this panoramic view of the Arjuna's penance, there is another story. As the legend has it, some scholars identified the panel of the Arjuna's penance with the story of Bhagiratha bringing the Ganges to the earth. This is known as the descent of Ganges. According to them, the representation here is that of Bhagiratha's penance and Shiva granting him the desired boon by agreeing to release Ganga from his locks, the scene representing the descent of the river from the jungle-covered hills in the joyful presence of the gods.